Have you ever driven late at night in the pouring rain, staring at the rhythmic blur of streetlights until your brain simply clicks off? You enter a state of highway hypnosis, a mental vacuum where active awareness fades away. In early 2026, an exhausted late shift worker named Maud was locked in this exact state. Soaking wet and desperate for a hot meal, he pulled into a glowing neon diner on the edge of town called Lucky's Roadside. Inside, the place was empty, except for a waitress named Marge. Instead of handing him a menu, she smiled warmly and greeted him as if he were home. When the human brain reaches this level of fatigue, it prioritizes comfort over accuracy. We become biologically prone to accepting whatever reality is presented to us, trading our skepticism for a warm cup of coffee. Before Maud could even speak, Marge recited his highly specific breakfast order: black coffee, 2 sugars, dry wheat toast, eggs over easy, and crisp bacon. She even poured the hot coffee and swirled the spoon with 3 quick turns, his exact personal quirk. Marge claimed he had been coming to that corner booth every rainy Thursday for years, but sitting there, Maud realized a terrifying truth. He had never stepped foot inside Lucky's Roadside before in his life. The diner anomaly functions by planting these fabricated interactions directly into the present. It seeds the environment with evidence of a past that never occurred, making a lie feel tangible by reinforcing it with physical objects and social proof. The trap initiates capture by weaponizing hospitality. By presenting an alternative history with absolute confidence, the system forces the victim to doubt their own foundational memory, creating a psychological foothold. The next rainy Thursday, Maud pulled into the diner on impulse again. When the doorbell jingled, Marge already had his coffee poured and waiting. Unsettled, Maud checked his phone later that night. He found entries written in his own digital handwriting, documenting late-night coffee stops on every Thursday for the past month. He had no memory of making them. This diagram maps out the infiltration. Before it attacks a victim's internal mind, the trap overwrites their external reality. It moves backward along their timeline, spawning fabricated data points, like calendar entries and old Polaroid photos on the diner wall, to legitimize its existence. By the 3rd Thursday, the rain fell heavier, and Maud actively tried to take a different route home. But highway signs seamlessly rerouted him. The anomaly's influence had expanded outward, forcing his physical trajectory to bend entirely back to the diner. Once a target recognizes the danger and tries to avoid the location, they are already walled inside a hijacked, localized reality loop. Inside the diner, the environment entered lockdown. The front door jammed shut. Outside, heavy rain fell in perfectly straight lines without a trace of wind, while the wall clock remained permanently frozen at 3:17 a.m. With the victim secured, the system begins pulling specific, guarded data points from the subject's life. Marge began casually humming a tune Maud's mother used to sing and recited his first crush's name alongside the exact lie he told his parents to cover a missed curfew years ago. Marge serves as the anomaly's extraction interface. Her strict function is to remember for the victim, holding on to the personal history as the subject gradually loses it. The window reflection shows the visual manifestation of a timeline being assimilated. The victim's reflection stacks infinitely backward, with each translucent copy appearing slightly older and moving on a delay. When Marge served a fresh cup of coffee, the front door finally clicked open. Maud sprinted out into the parking lot, only to find his current car was gone. Sitting in its place was an older model he hadn't driven since college, with the keys resting in his pocket. Exiting the building is a meaningless victory. Once the anomaly has successfully downloaded and overwritten your foundational data, the physical escape does nothing to restore the history you lost inside. Mohad drove back to a hollow reality. His apartment building was geographically correct, but the framed photos on his walls featured him smiling next to complete strangers. He scrolled through his phone contacts, finding names he recognized, but with absolutely blank memories attached to them. The extraction leaves a lasting psychological echo. Survivors frequently wake up tasting dry wheat toast and receive automated, unprompted text messages from Marge at exactly 3:17 a.m., stating that his coffee is waiting. His physical environment struggles to render his identity. When Mohad looks in the mirror, His reflection smiles a fraction of a second late. The Lucky's roadside trap hollows out its prey. It uses their history, their context, and their very sense of self as a fuel source to keep its own neon signs lit. Which leaves a question about the fragility of your own timeline. How well do you actually trust your memory? Think about your own routine commutes, the late-night drives in the rain, or those blurry, unremarkable Thursdays that bleed together. Can you be absolutely certain that a system hasn't already rewritten parts of your past?